Good morning, students. Warm welcome to the talk today. I really wanted to be with you this morning, but unfortunately, the VP of Products and Technology for Disney wanted to meet me in Singapore, and I'm unable to make it for the event. But fortunately, I'm able to still be able to do this, and after the recording, we'll have a live Q&A session where you can ask me any questions you want. So hopefully during this short conversation, you can think of anything you want to ask and we can have a conversation after. Today's topic is about sharing advice to new students who wants to start companies. Very much like you, the first company I started was when I was still schooling. So I've recently started a new company called HasBrain, which focuses on helping students educate them in the technology space to be elites when they graduate. I'm not going to share much about the idea for this talk, but if you are interested, please feel free to reach out to me after the talk. There's only going to be 3 advice I'm going to share with you this morning. I hope at the end of the day, you will be able to bring back those 3 advice and help you in what you're trying to achieve. During that time, my other mentors include Scott McNally, founder of Sun Microsystem. Sun Microsystem invented Java and is really one of the first few great companies that brought the server client paradigm to its popularity today. People like Scott and Seth Stambert, the person at the corner, the CEO of Meebo, a company that was later acquired by Google, helped me shape a lot of my thinking early on. These mentors have been absolutely critical to my behavior and experience later on as I started new companies after the first one. I used to really like a quote that Seth used to tell me, and he said that many people, when they are successful, are based on luck. And many people think that luck is a thing that you cannot get if you are just a normal person. But he says that luck is actually an intersection of opportunity and skills. Many times opportunity comes, but we do not have the right skills to grab them. So after my short time in Stanford, I returned back to Singapore to complete my studies in NUS, bearing with all the wisdom of all the mentors that I used to have back in the valley. When I started school again, I met up with Kaiwei, who was the current CEO of, he used to be CEO of Infocom's investment arm. Then he became a managing partner at Monks Hill, which is managing millions of dollars today funding other companies. During that time, Kaiwei wanted to start a company, and we met up through an introduction in the school. So with that, I joined him as the first product manager to start the new product, Sports Hook. He have gathered quite an impressive team with Ian in the center. Ian was a very talented designer. He used to design for Yahoo. And later on, Jackie joined us as a Ruby on Rails developer. With all the knowledge I had gained in school in Stanford, meeting all the mentors, it is good advice, but I do realize that those advice are really difficult to put into practice. Because once you start a company, no matter how hard people always tell you it is, you never really take it seriously until you really do it. And you realize that it is really tough to start something, even with a great team. So in school, we created this whole sports social network and we did rigorous product testing over time. But After school, I graduated and continued with the product that I was working on. Eventually, after much product testing, I came to a conclusion that the product is not really going to work out very well. The product penetration was doing alright in Singapore, but it doesn't show signs of the explosive growth that web technology needs in order to gain stable revenue traction. Because of that, I've decided to stop the company, and with that, my first startup comes to an end. But that has taught me a very good lesson, which brings me to the second advice I'm going to give you, which is, as a student, as you start your first company, it is important to know when you're going to stop. Because if you start, you want to learn a lot, as much as you can, understand where you are not good enough at, and where you really want to be good in. Then, find the best environment and the best mentor for you to learn from. And that is exactly what happened to me. After the first company, I graduated with a comp science degree. Pretty much an engineer at heart. I love building things. But I realized that when I was doing a product, having great engineering skills is not good enough. From my mentor during that time as Kaiwei, he taught me that excellent skills in business and sales will help me create better products over time. So with that, I set out to find the best company I could find with the best mentor I can. So the next company I found was, very interestingly, a sales job in a big company called BMC. That has been absolutely critical in the growth of my career because of the things that I've learned in the big company. So there are things that you'll learn in different companies that are critical for your growth. And as the second advice, for me, it's all about learning the business side of things and learning how to sell better. And with BMC, they flew me around the world and exposed me to the best mentors they have from all across Europe and US. After 1.5 years of being in BMC, I've decided that I've learned all I can about sales, and I came back into the startup space. Pretty much like a lot of the animes that you see, with One Piece, Luffy actually had the same bad experience. He was really young, he was inexperienced, but with a great mentor, he turned out really strong. But if you look at real life, many cases, a lot of other successful people go through the same cycle. They started out not knowing what to do, they did many things wrong, and eventually they found great mentors who can help them through their life. So after they become successful, they give back to the society by being mentors themselves. So the third advice I'm going to give you is get exposure. What does getting exposure mean? It is important to know that the world is a very big place. It has different people with different cultures across it. And because of that, the products that you're going to build will need to serve all these people. Joining BMC and later on starting the service unit in 2359 has enabled me to get exposure to clients and mentors across different parts of the world. And to learn how to work with them has increased my market size tremendously over the years. I owe a lot of the success to what BMC has taught me and the training that they have given me across different parts of culture. And it's important to know that if you just look at the Vietnam or even in the Singapore market, the market space is extremely small compared to the whole world. Without getting exposure early on to shape your ideas and your execution, having just a successful execution in a country is not good enough anymore, especially for technological driven ideas. So getting that early exposure early on to work in companies that give you that extra boost into other countries and exposure to culture is extremely important. With that, the ideas and execution that you learn from other countries can now be brought back to your country or your region to give you the competitive edge you can have over another country or company. I think we have covered a lot of ground today. I would just like to sum up the 3 key advice that I've given you over the course of the talk. The first one is that starting companies is not a one-time execution. It's a lifelong journey that you get better over time. The second is, as a student, when you start companies, you need to put in mind when is a good time to stop, so that you can then spend the time to get better over the skills you want to build in, so that the next time you start, you can start with a much better base. For me, looking back at the execution that I did for my first company, it is not something that I will do again. There are many lessons that I will actually learn over the course of time that will help improve the chances of survival for the company. The third and final advice is get global exposure, preferably across different cultures, to shape your ideas and your execution. Right. Hopefully, with those 3 advice, you are able to execute your ideas better over time. With that, I actually want to invite you to the meetup that we're actually gonna have on Saturday. So Candy is currently with you at the event. If we have any questions after this, please let her know if you do not want to share it now. But we're having a meetup this Saturday to discuss about being able to increase the tech development standards in Vietnam and how to be a tech development expert over 2 years. So if you are interested, if you're a technology driven person, or you have friends who you feel are extremely passionate and are smart about technology, do bring them down. It's 9 a.m. Saturday. We will be buying some food and drinks that we'll just sit around in the office, which is actually a pretty nice cafe. And we're just gonna talk and share ideas about this. So hope to see you there. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask Candy. If not, we're gonna go into Q&A now. If you have any now, we can answer those.